create new stories. Likha Residences is a home that is more than a place for a family to live in. Located in the booming south of Metro Manila, Likha is within reach of prestigious schools, hospitals, retail and business centers, as well as Makati and Taguig central business districts. Likha Residences is host to an exclusive trove of modern townhomes, designed to reflect the graceful aesthetic of contemporary Filipino architecture. Choose between 3-story and 4-story townhomes. Let stories unfold with more spaces to enjoy life. Create stories after stories with your family. Your story begins at your very own 2-car garage that connects to ample utility spaces. This is a space for laughter and never-ending in between sips of coffee. Create moments that will last a lifetime. Experience the lush greenery as you step out to the deck into the elevated garden and pathwalk. The tranquil story is your space to relax and unwind. Crowning every home is the penthouse. It is the perfect backdrop for creating moments with family and friends. Likha Residences also features a selection of amenities that residents can enjoy. Likha Residences is a place where every room is ripe for a story. Likha is your place to create moments.
Good afternoon, everyone. Hi, how is everybody doing? My name is Victor, and I will be your host for today on this very fine afternoon. We are blessed with great weather today, which means that even the universe wants this webinar to go well. So I hope everyone is doing well and safe. Welcome to the second episode of our webinar series entitled Rebuild Your Life with Likha Residences. Now, Likha conducts these free webinar series to help anyone who wants to start an investment journey in the world of real estate. I am pretty sure that is you and me and just about everyone. Now, in our last webinar, we talked about the importance of property law and how familiarizing yourself with it cannot be understated. If you were not able to catch it, don't you worry. The entire webinar is still available for viewing on the Likha Residences Facebook page. You merely need to scroll up and you will see it right there. And the Likha Residences Facebook page is exactly where you are watching this webinar right now. So you don't even have to go far. Okay, so please do check that out if you haven't yet. Now, today we will learn how to build our own real estate portfolio. This is a very helpful topic, especially for new investors, from creating business plans to crafting effective investment strategies to solidifying future deals. Plenty of merit can be achieved if you have a well-maintained portfolio. Now, Likha Residences has invited a special guest to join us today with lots of tips and advice in store for all of us. So don't go anywhere because we will uncover all the necessary information that you will need to start building your own real estate portfolio. But before we get right into that, I wanted to know where you are watching us from. I want to know who it is that is joining us today. So please don't be a stranger to the comment section. Let me know where you are logged in from. So if you're within NCR, which part, if you are in Visayas or Mindanao, please let me know in the comment section. Don't be a stranger to it. Don't be shy. You know, that's the only way I actually get to connect with the audience, whoever is watching. That's how I get to really speak with you. I know who it is I'm reaching out to. So please, again, comment section, That is where you can pose your questions for our speaker a little bit later on. That is also how you can communicate with me, communicate with us. So please let me know where you are watching this webinar from. Don't be shy. Send that over, okay? Now, to everyone who is tuned in, please pay attention and stay all the way until the end of the webinar, because we will be playing a little question and answer game with a surprise gift at the end. I've got someone saying hello from Quezon City. Hello to you. Hello from Taguig. That's where I am right now. I've got from Alabang, that's Enrique. Good afternoon to you, Pia, and to Enrique. Thank you so much for replying. I love talking to the people who are actually tuned in. It makes me feel like I'm not just talking to this little dot that is the camera. I am actually talking to a lot of people. And I love that. Okay, so back to what I was saying. Please stay until the very end of the webinar, because we will be playing a little question and answer game with a surprise gift at the end. More people answering. I've got Quezon City. Dale Saiseng is also from Alabang. Hello to you, Dale. Thank you for putting in your full name, because I would have been asking, how do I pronounce your Facebook name correctly? Bobby is in Pasig. Okay. More of your answers, please. Send that over. Okay. Everyone, make sure you keep it locked in, okay? Stay tuned, keep your ears peeled, and make sure you warm up your texting or your typing fingers, because the first 5 people to answer our question correctly will be rewarded by Likha Residences. Good luck to all of you. I can't wait to announce who the winners will be. That will be at the end of our program. More people from Quezon City. We've got Mona Lynn from San Pablo, Laguna. Okay, I'll get to your responses. More of it a little bit later on. Mandaluyong. That's Alice. Hello, everyone. Okay, so let's start, shall we? Today's webinar is being brought to us by Likha Residences, a luxury townhome development that is crafted by Finma Properties, a subsidiary of Finma Corporation, which has a well-established reputation in building inspiring homes for the past decades. It is a community made up of 3- and 4-story townhomes, with each floor intricately designed for your families to create stories after stories. It is nestled in the bustling city of Muntinlupa, where families can experience the joys of luxe southern living. Thank you to the team behind Likha Residences for these free webinars that help us learn and actually teach us how to grow wealth through real estate. And if that's not something you're doing right now, then this is the perfect webinar for you. This is the exact message you should be hearing and listening to right at this moment. If you don't have investments yet, if you're not into real estate yet, then stay put, because the information that we're going to be sharing today is one that you needed to hear. Trust me, because I'm on the same boat as all of you. Okay, so before we get into the meat of our webinar, I just wanted to ask you a couple of questions, because we wanted to sort of customize the webinar and the talk based on who is actually watching now. So still in the comment section, we want you to answer these questions. Here's the first one. For you, okay, this is specifically for you, so there's no wrong or right answer, and we're not grading you on this one. We just want you to be honest and let us know your answers to these questions. First one, what is the purpose of your real estate property? Is it A, for home use, or is it B, investment? So please jot down in the comment section your answer. Is it A or B? So you write 1A, 1B. So we also know which question it is you're answering. Again, what is the purpose of your real estate property? Is it A, for home use, or is it B, investment? Okay, Enrique put in investment. Red, okay, most are writing it's for investment. Okay, so just say 1A or 1B, or 1 investment, 1 home use. Thank you for the ones who put in the number, because I still have about 3 more questions to ask you, so it's easier for us to collate your answers. Okay? We've got one saying it's for both. Exactly. All right. You don't have to choose just A or B. If it's for both, then write both. Thank you very much for your honesty. Next question. How many properties do you currently have? Is it A, 1? Is it B, 2 to 4? Is it C, 5 or more? Or is it D, will be starting to invest soon? So again, write your answers as 2A, 2B, 2C, or 2D. I will be honest with you. My answer is D. That's the main reason why I'm here today. And I'm so honored and privileged to be hosting this event because I know I will be learning so I can actually start investing in something soon. So please indicate if you are a 2A, 2B, 2C, or like myself, a 2D. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. That's why I'm here to learn. Next question. What factor is the most important to you when investing in real estate? Is it A, design and features? Is it B, security? Is it C, the price? Or is it D, location, location, location? I don't know why it's often when they say location, they have to say it 3 times. Exactly what I just did. So let us know what factor is the most important to you when investing in real estate. Okay, for Enrique, it's location. For Jane, it's also location. Anyone else with a different answer? Let us know. All right, so just 3 questions. For red, it's also location. No copying, okay? No looking at the answers of your seatmates. Kidding. Oh, wow. Everyone is answering, majority are answering location. There are a couple who've also put in the price, but mostly location. All right. So thank you very much for answering all of those questions. Now, without further ado, let me introduce our guest speaker for today. I hope you are ready with your notes. I am right here. I am ready with my notes and my pen because, like I told you, I am ready to invest and I want to learn everything that there is to learn. What do I need to know? That's exactly what we're going to hear this afternoon. Our guest speaker has worked in various industries and companies such as Procter and Gamble, Globe Telecom. She was senior director for McDonald's Asia Pacific, Middle East, and Africa, president and CEO for Metro Pacific, Our Lady of Lourdes Hospital, and president and CEO of Potato Corner. She also wrote the book, The 9 to 5 Millionaire. I want to be that. How to get from a 9 to 5 job to millionaire freedom. Raise your hand if that's you. And has been doing talks and workshops to promote financial literacy. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome 9 to 5 millionaire property investor, Miss Leila Hernandez. A virtual applause for her, please.
Hello, hello, Jelly. Good afternoon.
Good
And good
afternoon, Miss.
afternoon. Good afternoon to everyone who's also viewing us.
Miss Leila, I love the title of your book, How to Go from a 9 to 5 Job to Millionaire Freedom. I can't wait to hear exactly what you share with us this afternoon. But right now, Miss Leila, can you give us a little teaser for your talk today? What can our viewers expect to learn from today's webinar?
Yes, I am so excited to share with all of you this afternoon how to build a real estate portfolio. And of course, the objective of that portfolio is so that you can get rich or richer and retire young and rich.
Oh, we like that. Retire young and rich. Young, so you can still do everything that you've dreamt of doing because now you have the financial freedom to do that. Okay, Miss Leila, before I turn over the virtual stage over to you, just so you know, the results of our poll for question number 1, more people are looking for investments rather than home use. Okay. For question number 2, mostly they already have about 5 investments or more, followed by a tie between 1 and 2 to 4. Parang ako lang yata yung magsisimula pa lang. So majority is 5, and then there's a tie between just owning 1 or 2 to 4 properties. Okay, fine. Ako lang, nag-iisa lang ako sa D. Thank you, guys. And then for the last question, everyone is prioritizing the location, followed by design, and then price. Okay, because like we told you, Miss Leila is going to sort of customize her presentation and the webinar based on what it is that the kind of audience that we have today. Isn't that fantastic? Customized to you, personalized to our viewers. All right, so is everybody ready to listen and learn? I sure do hope so. Keep that volume up so that you won't miss anything. Now, if you have any questions or concerns, send them to us via the comment section below, and we will try our best to accommodate all of the questions later in the program. Now, the minute the question pops up in your head, please type it in again to give us enough time to collate all of your questions that will be posed to Miss Leila. And without further ado, let's begin today's session, shall we? I would like to now turn over the virtual floor to our speaker, Miss Leila Hernandez. Miss Leila, all yours. Go right ahead, Miss Leila. It's all yours. I'm wondering if Miss Leila, can you hear us?
Yes.
Okay, go right ahead.
Okay, so everyone can see the screen?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm so excited to be with you this afternoon and share with you some of the lessons that I've learned. Wala.
Miss Leila, your screen was seen. All good.
Okay, now it's good. Okay. Sorry. Some technical difficulties, but let's move on.
All yours. Virtual applause for Miss Leila right there.
Okay. Okay. So, again, I'm very excited. Thank you for spending some of your time this afternoon with me because in the next 30 minutes, I will share with you how to build your real estate portfolio so that you can become wealthy or even wealthier. So, do you like that? Yes. So, let me start with a question. How many of you know Jeff Bezos? Okay. Have you heard of Amazon? So Jeff Bezos owns Amazon, and currently his worth is around $150 million. Okay, so pretty impressive, right? Now, you might think that he's the richest man in the world, but actually he's not. There's actually a man who has double that wealth. And his wealth is, by today's standard, estimated between 300 to 370 billion dollars. So, let me introduce you to that man. His name is Andrew Carnegie, and while he is known for steel, so he was an industrialist, this is what he had to say about real estate. So he said, the secret to wealth, 90% of all millionaires become so through owning real estate. So that was true then, and it is true now. So you have to trust this guy is probably in the top 5 richest men of all time. And to him, real estate was fundamental to becoming wealthy. Now, let's explore some more. Why is real estate so attractive and advantageous to wealth building? Okay. For one, land is scarce. It cannot be reproduced, right? And the location, once you have that location, there can be no other location, right? The other is real estate is recognized by banks as assets to loan against or as collateral. Now, why is this important that it's recognized as collateral? It's because real estate investing can be funded by OPM or other people's money or through banks. And you get faster leverage and wealthier that way. Third point, real estate transactions are negotiable. So the price is negotiable, the terms are negotiable, the type or format of property you want, you can choose, right? And even the terms of your loan, your payment, it is all negotiable. So it's a very flexible asset class. It also gives short-term and long-term returns. So, for example, you may have a property that gives you rental income while it is appreciating. Then later on, it can give you long-term returns when you flip it or when you collateralize against it, right? Or you continue to rent it, right? So it's both good for the short and the long term. And then I think this last reason is very important, especially for today, in the times of COVID, right? It helps build and protect wealth even during economic downturns. Now, I will speak more about this point later on, right? So, let us begin. Okay? This afternoon, what you will learn is this: how to build your real estate portfolio in 3 steps. The first one is having a goal. So you have to begin with the end in mind. The second is what is the framework for analyzing when to buy, when to sell, and when to hold a property. And then lastly, how to manage your portfolio, how to balance the risks and the opportunities. Okay? So, number 1, think about your goal. For example, your goal is to buy a property that you want to use. So I've heard it. Some of you said, okay, it's for home use. Some of you said it's for investment. And likely, if it's for investment, it's either you want to flip it and sell it, or you want to rent it out, right? Or you may also be considering property as a way to pass on wealth. So it's a way to build your legacy and build generational wealth. So from you to your children, or maybe from your parents to you, right? What about the horizon? Are you thinking short term? And by definition, short term is a year or less. Or is it medium term? Is it 2 to 5 years or long term? It's longer than 5 years. And then resources. So think about the cash that you have. And don't forget about the future cash flows that you might have. So this is important to analyze it not just with what you have now, but also with future cash flows that you are planning to have. Okay. Second, involvement. Are you the type who wants to be very active in managing your property? Do you want to deal with other investors? Do you want to deal with brokers? Are you good at renovating property or construction? So what are you good at? and how much do you want to be involved. In some cases, you may have a team of people to help you, or a trusted property management company who can take care of things for you, like maintaining the property, managing the tenants, making sure the rent is paid, and all of that. But you have to be sure how much of yourself, your time, are you going to invest in this endeavor. Okay? And then contacts. It is very important that you have contacts. Contacts for banks, to get the best rates, or contacts with brokers, and even banks, if you're eyeing to snap up some real estate bargains, or foreclosures, to get the best terms, or a broker who will tell you this is the launch, a soft launch pa lang, but you already have dibs on this property that's about to launch. So contacts are also very important. Okay. So with that, here are some examples for your goal. Okay. The first example I will give is one for a property that you will use. It can be like this: to acquire a home that will be fully paid up and doubled in value within 10 years. So if you notice, it's very specific what the purpose of the property is for. So it's for a home. Okay. And here you can see that the intention is to loan the property, right? But to set a timeline that within 10 years, it will be fully paid up. And you want it to double in value within the same time period in 10 years, right? Now, here's an example of a goal you might have for an investment property. To have a rental property that will give positive cash flow in 5 years, capital appreciation of 70%, and paid up in 10 years. Okay, so notice positive cash flow. So especially for investment properties, more than the price of the property, it's important that you control the cash flow, and that as soon as possible, it becomes positive cash flow. And then last, let's say for those of you who answered, you have more than 3 properties, some 5 properties. Here's an example of a goal you might want to have for your portfolio. To build a portfolio that in 15 years will generate a positive cash flow of $500,000 every month, doubled in value, and be robust through economic ups and downs. Okay, so do you like that? Yes, and I can assure you that all of these goals are achievable, very achievable, from personal experience. Now, with that, let's look at the framework now. So people ask, how do I know whether I want to buy this, or can I sell this? Can I invest in this? Do I go into this deal? And this is the framework that I want to present to you. So when you start your search, it's important you have a checklist. Yeah. So for those na OC, maganda talagang may checklist so that you don't forget to see all of these factors every time you analyze or consider a property that you want to buy. Okay? Yon. So we've heard the ulitin ko, location, location, location. Yan. It's very important because location cannot be changed. Pwede kang mag-construct, pwede mong i-renovate, ibahin yung pintura, ibahin yung itsura niya ng property, but you cannot change the location. Okay? And by location, you should look at the location, not just of the property itself, but possibly at least within a 5-kilometer radius of the property. Where is it located? Is it near a main road? Is it accessible? Are there features and amenities that you can easily access? What about in terms of privacy? Who are going to be your neighbors? Or once you get out of the gate, what will you see? Will there be a grocery? What is important to you? What else? Education. So you can think about, okay, is there a school there, near there? Is there a hospital? Okay, is there a mall? Restaurants, or a clubhouse, right? So that has to do with location. Now, type can be landed property, or it can be vertical, right? It can also be, is it residential? Is it commercial? And is it a house and lot? Is it a townhouse? Is it a condominium? So those are the different types of properties, right? And then turnover. Now, the turnover date is very important because you have to determine when that property can be used. So whether you occupy it or you rent it out, the property value is jumps dramatically once it is real. So let's say the property is pre-selling property. So you have to know when is the turnover date of that. Okay. Then input it in your horizon. And then master plan and developer go hand in hand. So especially during these times, you have to be very, very picky when selecting a developer, because usually the developer can make or break the project. So you put in money, but the developer should be able to deliver what has been committed. The quality of the work, the timeliness of the delivery, and the maintenance of the property. So sometimes a property developer might just sell the property, but then if it's not well maintained after turnover, then the value doesn't increase as much. So you look at how the developer is thinking of the entire thing. So what is the master plan? Are there common areas? Are there sufficient common areas? Is there a good ratio of parking slots? And what are the amenities? Are those amenities important to you? Okay, so lastly, once you've summed it all up, I don't want to say just price. It has to be value, because price is absolute, but value is relative. So you have to see that what you're paying for is actually value. Value in terms of comparativeness of other properties or other similar locations, or properties that have the same amenities or advantages and qualities. Okay. Now, after you've done your preliminary short list of the properties that you want to buy, then we will go into our framework now. So I'm going to ask you, right, to test your assumptions, right? So there's like just 2 questions, and it's answerable by true or false, right? So the first one is that, is it true or false that rent continues to go up over time? True or false? Okay. And then the second question, again, true or false? Amortization payments can be fixed over time. Okay. So, okay, I cannot see the comments, but I'm going to reveal the answer now, okay? True or false? Rent continues to go up over time. The answer is true. Okay. And then amortization payments can be fixed over time. The answer is again true. right? So because you can negotiate it, right? The payment rates and the amounts. Right? So here's a framework that you can use now to, especially for those that are going to buy their first property or is wrestling with the question, do I buy or continue to rent? Now, here's a an axis, right? So you can see here that there's money. So there's at the bottom, it's like very little money, like zero. And then all the way up there, it's like, okay, 1 million, 2 million, and so on pesos, right? And then time. So from left to right, so time, let's say it starts day one, let's say today, right? And then going to the right axis, then it can be 1 year, 5 years, or 10 years. Now let's plot out the assumptions that we made, right? So rent. Rent expense continues to go up. So we can see that in terms of this money and time axis, it's diagonally going upwards, right? And then let's also plot in amortization payments or loan payments. And you see here that you can generally flatten the amount of amortization payments over time. So let's say, okay, I have a fixed rate loan. I'll be paying 50,000 a month for it over 10 years. So it's 50,000 a month every month. Okay. Now, what is the key to answering the question, do you buy or not, or continue to rent? At this point of intersection between amortization and rent, at some point in time, the rent is going to be higher than the amortization you pay, right? So, I mean, the decision is easier if in the beginning, the rent that you're paying currently is already higher than the amortization payments you need to make if you buy the property. But what I'm telling you is this, you have to look at real estate investments over a period of time, not just today and not just next year. You look at it over a horizon of around 5 to 10 years. And so even if your rent expense is actually cheaper than the amortization you would have to pay every month, you can see in this slide that over time, that won't be the case. What will happen is your rent is going to be higher than your loan payment. And at that point, you are like now paying excess amounts of money to rent versus to own, right? So here, if you look at the difference between the rent and the amortization, if you had decided to buy, right, is one. The asset price. So let's say the time horizon here is 10 years. So the asset price by the time, let's say you bought it for 10 million pesos, right? At the end of 10 years, the price of that asset is definitely not going to be 10 million pesos. It's probably going to be around 16, 17, even 20 million pesos, right? So the asset price has gone up and hence your asset has capital appreciation. Plus the priceless the priceless enjoyment that you will get when you are enjoying your own home. You own the place where you're staying, right? So that also has value. And then here, I noted here the difference between amortization and rent, the opportunity cost, right? So I encounter people saying, "Hey, I know I can't afford to buy now because I have this money, but I'm going to put it somewhere else. I'm going to invest somewhere else, right? And so if you buy this property, you're foregoing the opportunity cost of putting that money towards something else, right? But what I've found, sadly, are people who would ask, okay, I want to buy, but I can't because of this. I'll use the money for something else. But then years after, they're still in the same situation. And the opportunity cost, the option that they chose in lieu of buying the property didn't really materialize, right? So okay, so let's say you analyzed it and you decided to buy, okay? And then today's day one, and then we have a time machine, and then now it's 10 years after. So after 10 years, wow, now you have several options, right? So at the end of 10 years, let's say it's already fully paid, we have now choices. You can, okay, I'll continue to live in this property. It's still going to be my home. I don't want to move elsewhere. Okay, that's fine. Or you can decide to upgrade and rent out that property, making you then an investor, right? The other one, which you can combine with either staying in the property or renting out the property, is to loan the property again, to take out a loan with the property. And by that time, because of the capital asset appreciation, you will be able to hold on to that property and yet get some profits because now you loan it against the bank. Now you have cash, and now you have, let's say, rental income coming in, right? And then this cash now, you can do a lot of things with that cash, right? You can begin the cycle again and look for another property to for your own use or to rent out. And the cycle goes on and on, building wealth. Okay. Now, I also put in here an option. Okay, pag nabayaran ko na tong property dito, okay, I can pamana this to my child. Okay, so after 10 years, your children might be of marrying age already, and that can be their home, right? So there are so many options now for you to choose after this cycle. Now, let's go and discuss in greater detail investing. So a lot of you said that you have like 5 properties and so on and so forth. Well, this should be quick, no? So instead of rent expense now, it's rental income, and the income is coming to you. So you are now the landlord, and it's not expense, it's income to you, right? And of course, you have to pay for that asset. So let's say you didn't pay cash, you just wanted to loan it out, you paid the down payment, and you're paying for amortization. And again, this is the way to look at it, right? You can already see the difference between the income that you get, which is the cash in, versus the cash out, which is the amortization that you pay. And when it becomes cash flow positive, it becomes a self-liquidating asset. So when you analyze a property, sometimes the red dot, the magical red dot, might come earlier, and that is a fantastic property buy. Sometimes it might come further to the right or longer. It might take longer. And then you have to assess whether, okay, can I maintain this type of payment, and so on and so forth. So when you get to the point wherein your cash flow is now positive, then it is now self-liquidating, and it will pay for itself. Actually, no, not pay for itself. Someone is actually paying for your investment already. Because at the end of it, you own the property. The renter, right, the lessee, doesn't own the property no matter how long they rent. It won't become theirs. They're just paying rent. But thank you to our tenants because they allow you now to build up, and you at the end of this term own the property that is now yours, fully paid. And again, after a period of time, you enjoy the capital appreciation of that because likely the price of that won't be the same anymore versus 5, 10 years ago, right? And after that, then again, you can you can continue once it's paid out to, okay, it's already paid out, I'll just continue to rent it out and I'll continue to collect rental income. Or no, I wanna leverage this property, it's fully paid, so I'm going to take a collateral against it again and get more money, and then I'll buy another property, and then I can rent out that property, and I will see how long it will take now for it to turn cash flow positive. Okay, so that becomes your option now. Now, if you have all these, you have like 3 to 5 properties, right? Let me share with you what a portfolio might look like, right? So I get questions like, should I invest in the same thing or the same location and all that, right? But here's what you can consider. So real estate is so beautiful because it has many choices. So it can be landed or a vertical development, right? So landed means you own the land, so that's a house, can be a duplex, can be a townhouse, right? Or a vertical development. So you have a title like a CCT. It can also be commercial, commercial versus residential, right? And so your tenants will probably be companies, not just people who are renting it out for residential use, right? So that's another choice. It can be local or foreign. So what do I mean, right? So if you have mastered having properties here in the Philippines, a lot of the principles for successful property investing can be applied in other parts of the world. And actually, in other parts of the world, especially for first world countries, the interest rates are somewhat better. And even the period is better than in the Philippines. And they can actually peg the interest rates for much longer periods versus here in the Philippines. And sometimes they even require less equity percentage versus here in the Philippines. Okay? So take a look at that because that's a good way to diversify your portfolio. So let's say if the Philippine economy is down, will this other country's economy also be down? Or will it be better? Right? And it can be, your investments can be direct or indirect. Okay? Direct means you invest and you have direct ownership of the property. Indirect means you can, through investing in a vehicle, it could be funds, it could be real estate investment trusts, you can invest indirectly in these vehicles who invest in a portfolio of properties with different types. Can be commercial, can be residential, it can be a portfolio for Southeast Asia, it can be just China, or it can be in the UK. And that's actually a good way to enjoy property ownership in your portfolio without a lot of the hassles of direct ownership. Um, Actually, in some cases, you can also benefit from more developed countries in that they have setups for property management companies that actually can take care of a lot of the ownership responsibilities for you, like collecting the rent or like making sure that the city rate dues are paid on time, for example. Okay, so all of these can now form your portfolio. And what you want to do is to make sure that the value of your portfolio increases, so there's appreciation. And as it becomes each of your property, as it becomes cash flow positive, you make sure that you either reinvest it and also build a nest egg with it. Okay? Because of course there will be times wherein the vacancy rate, it won't be 100% occupied, maybe it's 80% occupied. And so what you want to do is allow that into your assumption so that you don't have to let go of your property over a problem that is just maybe a couple of months, right? So protect your portfolio through economic ups and downs. Okay. When the economy is down, there are opportunities you can seize. And I remember the big recession years ago, and the year before that, we're in. So there was like an Asian crisis, right? And in that time, I got two properties. And that property easily became cash flow positive and is generating passive income continuously. So you have to make sure that your cash flow is positive or getting towards positive. And then once you have your funds, you can funnel that back into other investments and also have some hedge for some emergencies or vacancies or for repairs so that you can continue to maintain your portfolio. Okay? So, okay, we've already discussed the three steps to building your real estate portfolio, right? So the first one is setting your goal and beginning with the end in mind, right? The second one is the framework for analyzing whether you'll buy, you sell, or you hold a property. And then third is managing your portfolio. Okay, so that sums it up. So now it's time for the Q&A portion. I hope you learned something from this talk. And if you have questions, please ask them now.
You already heard the invite right there. Thank you so much for all of your insights, Miss Leila. We learned a lot today. I was very busy either taking down notes or taking screenshots of your presentation. And I have a lot of questions in mind. But for all the viewers, everyone joining us for this webinar, please do not hesitate to send in your questions in the comment section so that we can ask Miss Leila to answer them for you. I have two personal questions, Miss Leila. I hope you don't mind while we're waiting for the questions sent in by our viewers. How can we start investing? You know, like everything you've said, it sounds very inviting, especially when you started talking about the positive cash flow. How can we actually start investing in anything, especially real estate, if say the salary is just enough for like the daily expenses and there's not much to invest? What can we actually do if we want to set aside something for investment in the future? Do you have any advice?
Yes, I can share with you my personal experience.
Okay.
So, in the beginning, my salary was all going towards bills.
Yes.
Hardly anything was left, right? And so you're caught in that vicious cycle. But
Mm.
one thing, one rule that you should follow to become rich is don't spend more than you earn.
Okay.
Yeah. So make a budget, um, prioritize your essentials, the needs versus the wants in the beginning,
Mm.
and then save. So even a little bit, if you do it every month consistently, you will start to build a fund. And when bonus time comes, or when salary increases comes, or you get like extra, boom of cash, don't spend it, save it and invest it, right? So
All
if
right.
it's something you can build up, you can put it up first in stocks, or in money market funds, and then build up enough to make a down payment on your dream property.
Okay. So it's really about savings. Do you have a set, like, let's say, percentage that we should be saving?
At least 10%.
At
At least
least. And this
10%.
is okay, 10%, and this goes to savings that you will not touch for any reason, even if there's a sale on that one thing you've always wanted.
Yes, yes. So I've also been asked the question, but what if I love shopping? Let's say I want that very nice pair of shoes or that branded bag. And I tell people, buy it when you get to the point that you buy it and don't even have to think about it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're
Because,
already you're already at a point where, and even if you buy that, it's not going to affect all the other things that you've set aside.
yes, yes. So,
Okay.
of a bit of um, delayed gratification in order to have a greater reward instead of instant gratification with the sale or with shopping, because in the end you'll also be rewarded, right? You'll
Okay.
have a nice home, right? Yeah.
Delayed gratification. That's the key set of words for today, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, so I believe we've already gotten several questions sent in the comment section. Please do not hesitate to send in yours if you have any for Miss Leila. We will be flashing the questions you've sent in on screen right now, so Miss Leila can address it. We've got one from Kyra, who is asking, what do I do if I get hit by a risk factor in real estate? All right. Thanks for sending that in, Kyra. Miss Leila, what would you like to say to that?
Yes. So any investment is not risk free. Everything
Mm.
has a risk, everything has a downside. You just have to be prepared for it. So that's why when you have investments and the money's coming in, the rents are very good, all of your properties are fully occupied, don't spend it all. Make sure that you have enough funds to maintain the property, to make sure that if suddenly a tenant goes out of the country and doesn't wanna, wala, you're vacant, the property's vacant,
Mm.
then you have enough time to renovate or spruce up the place and then get in a new tenant. Yes.
Okay, parang nangyari sa pandemic, a lot of the unit owners all of a sudden lost their tenants because the tenants had to leave kasi they can't stay in the Philippines anymore for some reason, for things like that, right, Miss Leila?
Yes. And sometimes that points to, let's say, if you're that's why it's good to diversify a bit, because um some people didn't want to stay in condominiums anymore, right? They
Very
wanted to
true,
move
very
to
true.
open spaces, to landed property, townhouses, or house and lot properties, right? And so they started to move from the condos, right? So if in your portfolio all you have are condos, then that's a bit of a problem, right? Or if your location is always in the CBD and
Mm,
not in the residential areas, then again it's like during the pandemic, it's like a dead place, right? People
that's true.
were in exodus from those areas, right? And I guess the other thing is this: don't don't forget, start learning how to invest abroad. So
Okay.
you know that it's sad, but our country's bounce back rate from this COVID crisis is a bit slower versus the other countries, and in other countries it's already rebounded. It's not as
Oh,
bad
wow.
here. So you might think of that, or think of investing indirectly, like in funds.
Okay. Thank you, Miss Leila. More of your questions, please. From Ira Bugna. Hello, new investor here. Is it okay to have different strategies for investment assets?
Yes, Ira, that's a very good question, because in the beginning, you have to consider different asset classes already, and then you then adjust your strategies accordingly. So,
Hmm.
kunwari, you see a foreclosed property, and you say, okay, maybe this is a fixer upper. I can just do a quick flip so I can get more capital to buy more properties, instead of, okay, I'll hold on to this long term, I'll rent it out, and so on and so forth, right? So sometimes what you want is a quick cash in, cash out, right? So you might consider that. But you also have to ready, okay, but if I see this property that's also, let's say, oh, it's below market, it's very nice, or this
Hmm.
pre-selling property that's discounted, then you have to combine your strategies. So you're in the right direction, Ira.
Very good train of thought right there, Ira. Thank you so much for that question. More? Kim Perculeza here says, hi, are there any downsides if I was not able to maintain an organized portfolio?
um, in the beginning, when you start your portfolio, it really won't be that organized, right?
Okay.
Because sometimes you might want to be investing here, but then there's no opportunity, and then this other location has an opportunity, right? So in the beginning, you just start to build it up.
Hmm.
So that's okay, because you'll have to learn as you go. It won't be perfect, right? You just have to keep on improving what you know, and hence your portfolio will grow.
You will learn through experience, Kim. More, please. Comment section is your best friend, everyone. Arvik here says, will having a real estate portfolio help me increase my investment profits?
Yes, because you have to think of it like it's a basket of
Hmm.
assets. So instead of investing everything in one type, and that's all your basket has, if you have a portfolio, then you also manage the risk as well as increase your upsides. So you
Hmm.
might be able to take other assets that might have a longer horizon versus short term, right? But it won't all be long term or all be short term, for example. So yes, it will.
So it's really all about diversifying, ladies and gentlemen. Next, do we have more from Romel Christian? What are the common and uncommon mistakes that we need to avoid in investing in real estate? Let's start with the common mistakes, Miss Leila.
Okay, the common mistake is not starting. Okay.
Aray!
Oh, yeah,
Aray,
it's like
Miss Leila!
analysis paralysis. It's like, okay, I've seen this. No, I'll think about it some more, and then
Hindi pa
before
ako
you know,
ready.
di pa ako ready. Okay, masyadong mahirap isipin yan and all that. And then, after a while, you realize, oh, wala na yung opportunity. So the best way is to start. And when I mean start, it doesn't mean, oh, tomorrow bili na kayo agad, right?
Hmm.
No, you start learning about it, you plan, you practice analyzing properties. Kahit wala pa kayong pambili ngayon, hindi darating yung point na ready lahat.
Okay.
So, okay, na-analyze mo na, okay, yeah, okay, pag may font ako, ito, ilalagay ko dito, ganun. So, na-analyze mo na, nag-practice ka na. And practice is free. Investment, ano yan, expensive syempre, it costs money, right? Real money. So, maganda mag-practice kayo. So, yun yung common mistakes. Uncommon mistake, probably when you buy a property for investment, um, you don't have to think of it as a property that will be meeting your standards as if you were the one who's going to stay in there.
Okay.
Eh, kasi investment property yan eh. So, hindi yung requirements mo or yung needs mo or even your taste ang ilalagay mo dun sa property. Okay? So, kunwari, may property na parang, ang ganda-ganda ng location, pagbaba mo, shopping na and all of that, pero maingay, may mga bars, etc., etc. And then, sasabihin ko, ayoko kasi hindi na ako mabar ngayon, tita-tita na ako ngayon. Diba? Pero hindi, kasi it's for investment. So, you're also thinking of the tenant that will likely be interested in the property that you're thinking of buying. Yun. And then the other pa is sentimentality.
Hmm.
So sometimes, okay, ang ganda na, pwede nang i-flip. You wanna hold on, pero ang laki-laki na ng profit mo, 'di ba? So, yeah. Beyond sentiment, you have to balance it with the quantitative side of when you want to offload the property already.
Okay, thank you very much for that, Miss Leila. Do we have any more questions from our audience, please? Yes, we do. I just want to know, do you think I can hire a professional or a real estate agent to build and take care of my real estate portfolio?
Mhm. Definitely yes and no. No, kasi I also hire some people or companies I work with to help me manage my investments and my properties, no, especially those abroad. Okay, but you are the owner of that property. To be able to know whether this professional is managing or not, you have to know the business inside and out too. So that if your agent proposes something to you, you have your own analysis as to whether that's correct or no, that's not correct. Why don't you do this first or add this or think about this, etc. Because at the end of it, it is still your money. And the owner is the best one who takes care of the asset. Okay. So you definitely need a team. You can't do it all by yourself. But make sure you know how to manage them and that you have your own judgment about the decisions that need to be made. And how are you going to measure them? How do you know that they're performing correctly or not? Right? So you have to give them targets or here's what you need to deliver, you know. And then you can agree. So I've had some successful relationships doing it that way, right? Yeah, but I at the end of it bear the impact of my decisions. Yes.
Thank you very much for that, Miss Leila, and thank you to Jade for sending a question. Parang ano, no, it's your business. You really have to know the ins and outs of your business because at the end of the day, it is your money, and what that person does with your money, even though they made the decision, ultimately it was your money that was used for that because it is your investment. So great advice right there, Miss Leila. I believe we had a new question that was flashed. If I diversify, how will it impact my investments? Thank you, Ryan, for that question. Narinig na nila, diversifying is the way to go. So how will it impact?
Yes. So if you did your homework, you did your analysis, then it will positively impact your investments.
Okay.
So it is necessary, right? So you have to learn how. So because if you don't, you just keep on buying, then of course it will have a negative impact, and we don't want that, right? Okay.
Thank you. Thank you very much for that, Miss Leila. And thank you to everyone who sent in their questions. And I got a message here from Ira who's thanking you, Miss Leila, for answering her question. I have just one more before we wrap this up. What should we prioritize on right now? Should it be a property for investment or a property to own and live in? What if we have enough savings for just one property to live in or a property to invest in? What should we do?
Wow. I guess if you're open to both, then you have to compare those two options. So if you find a property now that is such a good deal and that it's perfect for you for your own home, then you can prioritize that, right? So me, I've always my first investment was actually my own house, and at
Okay.
that time I didn't think it was an investment because I live with it. But
Mhm.
after I've moved on, I've leveraged it, I've rented it out, and all that. Yes, it has turned out to be the best investment I've made. You know. Okay.
Okay. Thank you very much for that. Any final message or advice that you would like to give to our viewers, Miss Leila?
Okay, so remember the three steps to building a real estate portfolio. So begin with the end in mind, know your goals, right? Second, practice using the framework in analyzing when to buy, when to hold, and when to sell. And then the third is start planning out your portfolio. Yeah. So those are the three steps to building your real estate portfolio. Again, thank you very much for this opportunity. I enjoyed sharing what I know with you, and good luck. Good luck. Get rich.
Thank you very much for that. And if you follow all of the pieces of advice that Miss Leila gave us this afternoon, hopefully you will all be able to go from your 9 to 5 job to millionaire freedom. Thank you so much again, ladies and gentlemen. A round of applause, please, for Miss Leila Hernandez. Thank you, Miss Leila. Now, on behalf of the viewers and Likha residences, we would like to express our heartfelt gratitude to Ms. Leila Hernandez for taking the time to share her knowledge and experience with us today, for answering all of the questions sent in by our viewers. Let's give her all the love, a virtual applause in the comments section. Thank you so much for that. Now, as promised at the beginning of the program, in case you just logged in and you missed this announcement, well, it is now time for me to share the question of the day. What is this all about? Well, possibly you winning a prize. The first 5 viewers to provide the correct answer in the comment section will win a special gift from Likha Residences. Wait for my go signal, okay? So, if you get this correctly and you are one of the first 5 to answer and answer it correctly, you could win a special gift from Lika Residences. Here is the question. Where is the luxury development of Finma Properties located? Again, where is the luxury development of Finma Properties located? Here are some clues. It is in close proximity to schools, malls, and business district. And it is also very accessible to the south, where you can enjoy family getaways and vacation. Do you already know the answer? Comment down in 3, 2, 1, go! Write it down. Where is this luxury development of Finma Properties located? So I'm seeing some answers. Again, it is in close proximity to schools, malls, a business district, but it's also accessible to the south. I believe I've been seeing the correct answer. So we will let you know the first 5 to give the correct answer. Well, you will know if you won. There we have it. Stay tuned because we will be announcing our 5 lucky winners on our Facebook page very soon. Where you are watching this webinar right now, that's where we will make the announcement. Okay, so if you haven't liked the Likha Residences Facebook page yet, please do so you get notified when that announcement has been made. Congratulations in advance to all of the winners, and thank you very much for joining. Once again, thank you to Ms. Leila Hernandez and to the entire team that is behind Likha Residences, and of course to Finma Properties, who made today's webinar possible. I'm looking at the comments. You guys have been thanking us for setting this webinar up. You are most welcome. We hope that you have learned and picked up quite a lot of tips and pointers in today's webinar. You know, that is exactly why Finma Properties and Likha Residences give out all of these free webinars, because we just want everyone to learn. And I'm sure this is not the first time you hear it, but there is always an opportunity in every crisis. And we're considering that this pandemic is a global crisis. So there is an opportunity right there. There is a silver lining to all of this. So we hope that you heard that message today. With all that has happened in the past year, it is time to restore our lives so that we can bounce back this 2021. To help us, Likha Residences will continue to share more free webinars so that we can hashtag rebuild life with FINMA. Just keep visiting the Likha Residences Facebook page to find out when the next webinar will be. Trust me, you will learn a lot, as I have every single time I get the opportunity, the privilege of hosting these events. If you would like to learn more about Likha Residences or schedule a townhome visit, please contact Likha Residences. There you have the numbers on screen. Call 8535-6800. Once again, that's 8535-6800. Very easy to remember. Or 0917-535-6800. Please take a screenshot of the contact details. I will smile for that screenshot. You can also contact Likha Residences by sending an email. Send it over to inquiries@finma.com.ph. The email address is inquiries@finma.com.ph. Visit their website. It is at www.finmaproperties.com/likha/. Thank you so much for spending the Saturday afternoon with us. It was a pleasure having you on board, for your comments, for your active participation. Thank you, everyone. An absolute pleasure and honor being with all of you this afternoon. My name is Jelly Victor. Thank you so much for tuning in. Good day, everyone, and have a great weekend. Bye.
Live, laugh, and create new stories. Likha Residences is a home that is more than a place for a family to live in. Located in the booming south of Metro Manila, Likha is within reach of prestigious schools, hospitals, retail and business centers, as well as Makati and Taguig central business districts. Likha Residences is host to an exclusive trove of modern townhomes, designed to reflect the graceful aesthetic of contemporary Filipino architecture. Choose between 3-story and 4-story townhomes. Let stories unfold with more spaces to enjoy life. Create stories after stories with your family. Your story begins at your very own 2-car garage that connects to ample utility spaces. This is a space for laughter and memory making in between sips of coffee. Create moments that will last a lifetime. Experience the lush greenery as you step out to the deck into the elevated garden and pathwalk. The tranquil story is your space to relax and unwind. Crowning every home is the penthouse. It is the perfect backdrop for creating moments with family and friends. Likha Residences also features a selection of amenities that residents can enjoy. Likha Residences is a place where every room is ripe for a story. Likha is your place to create moments.